I'd like to call to order the April 7, 2015 meeting of the Buncombe County Board of Commissioners. And we will start, as always, with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now, if you'll join me in prayer. God, we're humbled by another day, another hour, another moment of life in the most beautiful place in the world. We're fascinated by the unfolding spring and the perfect harmony of nature as the seasons change. Place your hand of comfort on families who have lost loved ones in senseless acts of violence, terrorism, or thoughtlessness. Put your cloak of safety on the 200 local firefighters who have been battling fires in Ridgecrest and other parts of our county. Bless their families as they sacrifice and offer up these fine young men and women to help us fight fires. Put a blanket of healing on all people who are sick, depressed, ailing in the last chapters of their lives. Make them comfortable and upbeat despite their infirmities. Place a level of wisdom and vision on the members of the State Department and Congress members as they consider plans for peace and disarming nuclear capabilities. Give all our representatives the right direction on this complicated issue. And help our commissioners and other local officials to ponder decisions in a balanced and fair manner that leads to justice and prosperity for all our residents. Most of all, help us to appreciate what a fantastic opportunity we each have to make the world a better place. You made each one of us special and unique. Help us to uncover and understand our individual offerings to each other. Amen. In accordance with our Code of Ethics adopted by the County Commission, we all have a duty to obey all laws concerning official actions, to uphold the integrity and independence of the office, to avoid improprieties in the exercise of our official duties, and to faithfully perform the duties of the office, and to conduct the affairs of the governing board in an open and public manner. Is there any item on the agenda, the outcome of which will have a direct, substantial, and readily identifiable financial impact for any board member? Also, does any board member have any financial interest in the public contracts that might come before the board today? Hearing none, I find there are no board members that have such conflicts, and as such, all board members have the duty and obligation to vote. The next matter of business we're going to take up is public comment. We are going to have, I will say that we have public hearings, so you'll have a chance to have public comments closer at the time we make decisions for the Ferry Road property acquisition and the zoning request at 31 Monticello Road. So I would ask that if you do have comments on those, that you wait until our public hearing, and then it will be closer in the time that we're going to consider. The time limit for comments to the board is 3 minutes. If your time expires, then you can leave any question along with your name, address, phone number, or email with the county manager. Commissioners are not expected to comment on matters during public comment. Comments should be limited to subjects that are within the jurisdiction of the Commission or pertain to matters upon which we might act. Any individual speaking during public comment shall address the entire board. Any polling of board members is inappropriate. Persons addressing the Commission are expected to observe the decorum of the chamber and to be respectful of everyone in the room, whether we agree with opinions or not. Any person who willfully interrupts, disturbs, or disrupts the session will be asked to leave the meeting. The Commission reserves the right to deny a public address on any subject previously presented to the board. Is there any public comment tonight? Yes, ma'am, and then you'll be second, sir, on the front row. You'll give your name and where you live.
Betty Jackson, I live in Buncombe County, and I just have a question about the plastic card lock tech deal. Are the county taxpayers at all liable? I'd just like to be perfectly clear on that. Okay.
I will, I think I will, at my discretion, have you explain that. Let's go into it right now. Let's just get this, because that's a good question, how this industrial bond works.
This is a mechanism that lets certain companies that are going to produce jobs, industrial jobs, use an internal revenue code provision to have cheaper debt. So this is a maximum $4.25 million revenue bond. It's going to be purchased by GE Governmental Finance Incorporated. There is absolutely no obligation to Buncombe County. Plastic Card signs all the documents, all the guarantees on the note. This board held a public hearing on the project in December, and so the matter that you have before you tonight is just to approve the closing documents. The Public Facilities Industrial Bond Board, which you appoint, and they go over the details of any project that's presented to them and make those recommendations to you. They approve these documents on Tuesday, March 31st. There is absolutely no commitment on Buncombe County's part at all for this debt.
Thank you. That answers your question, ma'am. Yes, sir, on the front row. Who wants to speak after this gentleman? Yes, ma'am, in the green shirt, about fifth row. You'll be next. You can come on up. There's some seats up here. Why don't you come on up? Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Chairman Gant and fellow commissioners. My name is John Haas. I'm the president of the Friends of Town Mountain. Friends of Town Mountain is a community organization of 350 people, of residents that live all along Town Mountain Road and any road connected to Town Mountain. I'm here tonight to commend the actions of the Buncombe County Sheriff's Department. The weekend of March the 13th, we had 6 residential burglaries, all occurring during the nighttime. One of those homes was occupied. You can imagine the fright and the fear that involved the community during that weekend. We have an excellent communication system, so as every burglary occurred, it was reported, it was communicated to the 350 people that lived on Town Mountain Road. You can imagine what they felt like. Through the efforts of the Buncombe County Sheriff's Department, which were absolutely extraordinary that weekend, they were able to solve these burglaries the following week. It was a partnership between the community and the Sheriff's Department. That's what broke the case. That's what's going to make this community safer. On behalf of the Friends of Town Mountain, we want to personally commend Deputy Pridgeon and Deputy Zaval and Detective Moffitt and Detective Buckner. The suspect is currently in the Buncombe County Detention Center on a high bond, and we look forward to testifying at his trial. Good job by our Sheriff's Department. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll tell the sheriff that. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Yes, ma'am. Who wants to speak after this lady? Lady on the third row in the white shirt. You'll be next. And then after you, the lady in the back, I believe. If y'all come on up to the front row if you want. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Linda Cook, and I currently live in Buncombe County in an R1 zone district. And I'm here today to employ the commissioners to leave R1 and R2 zoning as is and not allow mobile homes in these 2 zones. According to the County Zoning Office of Buncombe County, 85.59% of the property under Buncombe County's jurisdiction already allows manufactured or mobile homes. That leaves only 14.41% in the R1, R2 districts. Why would this large percent of 85.59% do we need to even rezone R1 and R2 to allow for mobile homes? So this policy would directly threaten the 14.41% of the residents living in these areas and cause their property to decrease in value. According to the nonprofit International Association of Certified Home Inspectors, manufactured or mobile homes only have to conform to the HUD housing codes, not to state or local codes. Stick-built homes or modular homes qualify as real property, which allows them to get traditional loans. At this time they are very low, and the payoff periods are long. But when you look at manufactured or mobile homes, they are considered personal property like cars and appliances. They don't qualify for lower traditional loans, but have high interest rates on them. they have a short payoff time. Typically, the property that the mobile home is on is rented or leased. Affordable housing is a complex issue. It is not only an issue of high home cost, but it's a issue of low-paying jobs nationally that will not allow our citizens to find adequate housing. In closing, I would like to state, if 85.59% of the county under your jurisdiction already allows mobile homes, then why are we trying to fix the problem of affordable housing on the backs of R1 and R2 residents that only make up 14.41% of the county? We
If you finish up,
ma'am,
just finish that thought. We need to treat
so
our
it's
lives
my
differently.
time to stop?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. Let's see, if you were next, and then the lady in the white shirt there. I believe I had you next, but you go ahead since you're up here. Who wants to speak at you? If you come on up, let's go ahead and sit on the front so we can see who's next. I think you're next, ma'am, and who wants to be after this lady? Yeah, just have seats. Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is April Burgess Johnson. I'm the Executive Director for HelpMate. HelpMate is Buncombe County's organization that provides services to victims of domestic violence. And I'm here tonight to speak in support of our application for funding through the Buncombe County Service Foundation. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak during this public comment period, as I will be one of the Buncombe County contingent attending the Family Justice Center Alliance conference in San Diego during the week when you're hearing the other funding presentations. I want to start by saying how much I appreciate, and on behalf of the staff and board of HelpMate, we appreciate the leadership that this commission has shown in addressing domestic violence here in Buncombe County and really changing the way that we respond to domestic violence. It's been an inspiring thing to be a part of, and I'm grateful for the leadership that you all have shown. HelpMate has been in Buncombe County for more than 33 years, providing critical, life-saving, life-changing support to victims of domestic violence. We have a counseling program, an emergency shelter which serves over 200 people every year, a court advocacy program, case management, community education, and a 24-hour domestic violence hotline that serves just under 2,100 people here in our county every single year. We are requesting $82,455 worth of support from the Buncombe County Service Foundation this year to enable us to sustain and expand our critical case management services for victims of domestic violence. Case management services enable victims in those moments after crisis to access trauma-based counseling services, support that they need to rebuild lives free of violence, such as housing-related services, support for their children, and navigating the sometimes complex service networks that we have available here in Buncombe County that are designed to meet victims' needs. As the Family Justice Center prepares to open, we anticipate an even higher increase in the number of service requests that we have. That is really saying something, because last year alone, we experienced a 91% increase in crisis call volume and a 57% increase in overall service requests. The demand was so high that we had to add another rollover line to our crisis hotline to meet the ever-increasing demand that we have for services. We see this going up with walk-in clients coming through the Family Justice Center, as well as the implementation of the lethality assessment protocol with local law enforcement, in which local law enforcement officers, when they respond to the scene of a domestic violence call, will be calling HelpMate's hotline to get an advocate on the line for support with a victim immediately after a domestic violence assault has happened. We also will have an embedded staff member with the Department of Social Services, and we anticipate that that person will increase our referral base as well. Thank you again for your leadership and for your support.
Thank you, Ava. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Ann Bollinger from Weaverville, I was up here at the March meeting speaking for the request to change the zoning of our Weaverville neighborhood from R2 to R1 after the ETJ of Weaverville was taken away by state mandate and after being given an opportunity by this board to apply for a zoning change for our neighborhood. I'm really amazed that I'm here again in April, at the April meeting, speaking to a board about a troubling development. Less than 2 weeks after this board voted to approve our request to be zoned R1, we read in the paper that there's a discussion going on that would directly impact the R1 and R2 residential zoned areas of Buncombe County. We trusted that the Buncombe County zoning plan and the Buncombe County land use plan really meant something. We spent 6 long months jumping through every hook that the application process required, while thinking that we would be able to secure some minimal protections for our neighborhood. Wishing to maintain the integrity and look of our long-established neighborhood, we gathered applications and worked through every obstacle that this application process required so that we could feel secure in the knowledge that we would be able to offer some protection to the property owners. The vote, as you might remember, was 7-0 for approval. So I can't help thinking that some of you must have really been laughing at us, since this issue of allowing manufactured housing in all R1 and R2 residential districts came up so quickly after the vote. The Buncombe County land use and zoning plans allows for manufactured housing in most of the county, so this discussion is directly aimed at the R1 and R2 residential zones, which make up a very small percentage of the area outside the townships in Buncombe County. Touted by some as a quick way to fix the affordable housing issue, I would question this line of thinking. Many problems with allowing manufactured homes in all residential districts will lead to unintended consequences in the long run. My own brother and sister-in-law are moving to Buncombe County and are in discussions with a local builder. My sister-in-law told us this weekend at our Easter family dinner that the builder told them they needed to think about building in a gated community if they wanted to preserve the marketability of their property. Because if they were to buy an acre of land somewhere in Buncombe County, they would have no control over what type of structures could be placed on adjacent acres. This is what people who are looking to move to, build homes in, and pay taxes in our county are being told. And it's the truth.
Thank you, Ms. Bowman. Who wants to speak next? Christina?
Let's let,
Why don't you speak and then Ms. Christina? Okay, all right, okay. We'll go and then you go next, and you two next, and then Christine after that. Well, we'll take everybody who wants to be heard in public comment. This is not before us tonight, but we will hear you.
I'm Ann Callison Stokely, and I live in the Reams Creek area of Weaverville as well. And I, along with Ann Bollinger and a number of other people in the audience, we were part of the downzoning application just at the March meeting. And when I first read in the March 18th issue of the Asheville Citizen-Times that the commissioners were considering the possibility of allowing manufactured homes throughout Buncombe County across all zoning districts, I did a bit of homework. And while doing my homework, I came to understand that there's an important distinction between manufactured homes and modular homes. And actually, the Citizen-Times article was a little misleading the way it read because it referred to them as factory-built homes. In fact, there are important differences between manufactured homes and modular homes. Manufactured homes, or single-wides and double-wides, are factory-built. They're both factory-built. The manufactured homes are built on a steel chassis and transported to a building site. The wheels can be removed, but the chassis remains. Modular homes do not have axles or a frame. The modular components are transported to a building site and assembled by a crane. Placement of the modules may take several days to assemble, and once assembled, modular homes are essentially indistinguishable from typical stick-built homes. As a woman earlier said, manufactured homes do not have to comply with the much stricter state and building codes, as do modular and stick-built homes. Instead, they are built only to HUD regulations. They are difficult to remodel or repair, and subsequently they depreciate much more quickly. And banks and lending institutions recognize this distinction. because manufactured homes are not eligible for conventional mortgages and are usually financed with loans that carry very high interest rates. And many of the financiers of manufactured homes have been criticized for predatory lending practices. Manufactured homes are legally considered personal property, and I think this is fair because they depreciate like an automobile. Adding restrictions such as brick underskirting and gutters frequently can serve to make these homes unaffordable for those who need them most, and can result in loan foreclosures after buyers have been lured into investing them. I do not believe this would be in the best interest of Buncombe County, primarily because it would erode property values countywide, and that doesn't help anyone. It would change the character of existing R1 and R2 neighborhoods, and that has to be the goal of this measure since it's allowed already everywhere outside R1 and R2 neighborhoods. Developers who can afford the price of land in those neighborhoods would be able to buy lots and bring in manufactured homes as rental property. In other words, de facto mobile home parks would spring up in established neighborhoods as profitable investments for absentee landlords who do not have to consider the consequences for their neighborhood. And I challenge anyone listening to ask themselves, how would you feel about having manufactured homes rolled onto available lots in your neighborhood to be rented out to residents who have no long-term commitment to the community? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coakley. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Linda Kraft, and I'm in the same neighborhood with this group of people. As a homeowner in an R1 zone district, my husband and I are very concerned that allowing manufactured homes in areas with R1 single-family homes would have many unintended consequences, and that issues would arise that would not have even been considered. Affordable housing is an undeniable issue in our county, but is allowing manufactured homes in all residential districts the answer to this situation? There are few lots for sale in our area right now, and the lots are not inexpensive. The cost, then, of buying a manufactured home, pulling it to the lot, setting it up to standards that would make it compatible to the neighborhood, and then maintaining it, does not seem to me to be a simple answer to a difficult problem. Manufactured homes are loaned as personal property, like a car, so that loan costs are typically higher than loans for modular and stick-built homes. They are not as easy as modular and stick-built homes to remodel. I would also like to remind you that as of January 1st, 2014, the sales tax limit on mobile homes was repealed by the state of North Carolina. Before the tax overhaul, the state capped mobile home sales taxes at $300 for single-wide and $600 for a double-wide. Under the new tax law, manufactured homes are required to pay a 4.75% sales tax rate. I would urge the Board of Commissioners to look at other avenues of addressing the affordable housing issue. Remember that R1 and R2 zoning areas only make up a small percentage of the residential areas of this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kraft. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Sarah Faulkner, and I live in Weaverville. I'm here to urge you to not lift the ban on mobile homes in R1 and R2 zoning districts. I say mobile homes specifically because currently modular homes are allowed in R1 and R2 districts. Both mobile and modular homes are defined as manufactured homes. Again, modular homes are currently allowed in R1 and R2 districts. Mobile homes defined as single, double, and triple wides are built on a steel chassis and transported to a home site, whereas modular homes do not have axles or frame and are anchored to the ground. Modular components are transported to a home site and assembled with a crane. Both types of homes are factory built. The important difference between the two is that mobile homes are considered personal property, and modular homes are considered real property, as is a stick-built home. The difference is significant when it comes to loan financing. According to a report conducted by the Habitat for Humanity, the long-term financial implications of these different loans uncovers a startling reality. Mobile homes can cost significantly more than conventional or modular homes over a long term. For example, a conventional home loan for $90,000 at 4% APR over 30 years is $430 per month, or $154,000, while a personal property loan of $90,000 at 12.5% APR over 30 years is $960 per month, or $345,000. In addition, the overall market values differ in that mobile homes generally depreciate in value as stick-built and modular homes appreciate over long term. Strong home equity is an important factor in providing stability for low-income families to achieve upward mobility. Unfortunately, families that choose to purchase a mobile home are unknowingly preventing themselves from achieving this goal. These families are subject to predatory sales practices, exorbitant fees, and interest rates that can exceed 15%, trapping buyers in loans they cannot afford and in homes that are impossible to sell or refinance. The manufactured housing industry is pushing to deregulate the already hazardous financing climate for these families. On March 26, 2015, the Financial Services Committee passed the Preserving Access to Manufactured Housing Act, which would increase interest rates and eliminate mandatory borrower counseling programs. This deregulation will increase the profits of those in the manufactured housing industry at the sacrifice of consumers' financial security. Our responsibility as a community should be to provide smart, affordable housing solutions and not open the door to potentially harmful options for families in need. In conclusion, the issue before us is lifting the ban on mobile homes, defined as single, double, and triple wides in R1 and R2 zoning districts. Again, modular homes, an economical manufactured option, are currently allowed in R1 and R2 neighborhoods. Thank you for your careful consideration of this issue. And if I may, I would like to ask all those who are in favor of not lifting this ban to please stand up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Baldwin. Christine. And then Jim, you'll be after her.
Good evening. I'm Christina Merrill, and I live in Fairview. And I'd like to address the exorbitant cost of the proposed Buncombe County shooting range. As you may know, our neighbors in Cleveland County broke ground on a new shooting complex yesterday. The Cleveland County Commissioners partnered with several agencies to help make it happen at a fraction of the cost Buncombe is looking at. When built, it will draw people from surrounding states for training and competition. The economical price tag for the shooting facility in Shelby is just $1.7 million and open to the public with a nominal user fee, which will generate revenue and a return on investment. The range will also serve local law enforcement training, and there will eventually be a driving course for first responder equipment testing and training. Here in Buncombe County, we have several sites that would lend themselves to a similar facility. Unfortunately, the majority of our commissioners would rather spend $7 million on an exclusive facility that only law enforcement personnel have access to and exclude the taxpayers who are footing the bill. As usual, this seems to be a poor use of taxpayer funds for an overpriced project that only benefits a small segment of the populace. It's past time to start thinking outside of the box and change business as usual here in Buncombe, where our county commissioners repeatedly dip into the pockets of our citizens for bloated and overinflated projects without considering or taking the time to find outside resource opportunities. These outside resource opportunities in the past have been trivialized and wrongfully labeled as bake sale money by some of your colleagues who share a spend more, tax more mentality. Here are some specifics I urge you to look at on behalf of our overburdened citizens. There are matching funds available from the National Rifle Association and the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission for range development. In Shelby, the Cleveland County Commissioners figured out how to build the most state-of-the-art and largest shooting range in North Carolina for just $1.7 million. The range will benefit law enforcement as well as the public. But here, Buncombe County Commissioners are looking at spending nearly $7 million on a facility that would not bring any revenue and excludes public use. This makes no sense. I leave you with this question. Why does the cost of living continue to skyrocket here in our county? This is a perfect example. We need to take this opportunity to shine a light on this continued reckless and irresponsible spending of our tax dollars and show a positive example of our neighboring counties' fiscally responsible planning and leadership. I thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the people that are paying your salary and high taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Yes, sir. And then lady in the red, and then with your hand up, come on up front too. Can't see your face, but you'll be next, and you'll be after the lady red. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fred Flaxman, and I live at 36 Pickens Lane in Buncombe County, just outside the Weaverville town limits. I come to you in opposition to the idea that I understand you are considering to allow single, double, and triple-wide manufactured homes throughout Buncombe County, regardless of the zoning classification of the area. I think this is a terrible idea for the following reasons. One, these homes are already permitted in 80% of the county, where there is plenty of room for more of them. Two, they are usually financed with loans which carry very high interest rates, which are no help to those who are most in need of affordable housing. Three, they depreciate in value, just like cars and trucks, as soon as they leave the lot. Also, that acts against the long-term interests of low-income people. The lifespan of a manufactured home is far shorter than that of a stick-built or modular home. Then five, such homes are not as safe in violent storms and hurricanes as conventionally built houses. 6, it is difficult to address age-related structural issues in manufactured homes. 7, they are not subject to Buncombe County building codes, only to less strict HUD standards, as has been pointed out. 8, they would depreciate the value of the homes already built in R1 and R2 residential zoning districts, and thus the taxes to the county paid by those current homeowners. This is bad for the homeowners and bad for the county. 9, since land in R1 and R2 areas is generally more expensive than in the rest of the county, it is financially impractical to purchase small lots in those zones for single-family mobile homes. The result would be large parcels purchased and turned into trailer parks, most likely with absentee owners, which would depreciate the value of and tax revenue from surrounding properties. 10, finally, I'm concerned that approval of such a zoning change would reflect poorly on the Board of Commissioners itself, due to the appearance of a possible conflict of interest, since the idea was proposed by and is being advocated by a commissioner who was an executive in the manufactured housing industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not against affordable housing for Buncombe County. On the contrary, but I'm against unsafe, unsightly, inferior housing for low-income people. I'm in favor of making good housing affordable by raising the income of low-income, hard-working people by laws guaranteeing them a minimum wage, which is a fair wage and a living wage. Many thanks for hearing me out.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Alicia Davis. I am not here to talk about affordable housing or decreasing property values. I am here to talk about case management. I became a client of Homeward Bound in 2005 when I came to Asheville and became homeless. I had addiction issues and mental health issues that I felt like I couldn't defeat. I was introduced to A Hope Day Center and received case management support from a few people there for about 3 years. I was housed a couple of times. It took about 3 tries before it actually stuck. The case management support that I received when I was a client there was just incredible and really moving and inspiring. I graduated from the Homeward Bound program in 2008 and became a staff member of Homeward Bound in 2011. I am now a case manager with Project Rebound. We provide case management for some of the most vulnerable, high-need clientele in Asheville. We have a very high retention rate, housing retention rate. Because the case management that we provide, we offer resources for substance abuse treatment, mental health treatment, domestic violence treatment, anything that you can think of, really. I was hired on as a peer support specialist because I have lived experience with those issues, and I believe that without the case management that I received when I was homeless, I don't think I would be standing here at a commissioner board meeting right now. I feel it's very important to the housing retention rate that once our clients are housed, that's really when life begins for them and things happen. And it's up to case managers and those folks having support from case managers to actually be normal citizens of Buncombe County. My supervisor, who was one of my case managers back in 2005, couldn't be here today. She is actually with someone who just got diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. So she is receiving support from one of her case managers, in a really extremely difficult issue to handle. Yesterday, another example, we had a client who came to our office who said that he was just lonely. He's facing mortality issues with his father who has Alzheimer's disease and needed to get reconnected with mental health services. So we called and made an appointment, and he is going to receive those services next Monday. So thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am, green shirt. And then the gentleman in the third, fourth row there will be next, and then lady in the back there will be third. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Gil Kranowski, and I live near the Woodfin Fire and Training Training Center. And I would like to express concern over the proposed indoor firing range to be placed at the training facility. We are all very grateful for the work that our police and fire do, and we all want them to have the very best training available. But we are also concerned about putting such a facility adjoining residential areas. The indoor firing range is a substantial capital investment for the county, but it also has substantial consequences for the area residents. And if the board insists on going forward with that, we would like to have the opportunity to view the plans, to discuss contingency plans if the soundproofing is not what is expected, and to generally hear the residents' concerns, such as just general noise, hours of operation, increased traffic, landscaping options to enhance. But this is a very serious issue and does have the potential for grave consequences for our area. And it will greatly impact our quality of life as well as our property values going forward, which also affects county values as well. Thank you very much.
Mr. Pronowski, we'll make sure the county manager and sheriff accommodate you on that. That's very important to us also. Thank you for bringing it up. Yes, sir. And then I think someone in the back. Okay, already here. Okay. Go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Derek Toll. I work for Homeward Bound's A Hope Day Center. I am here to advocate for A Hope to receive funding through the Buncombe County Service Foundation for a coordinated assessment. I started as a volunteer at the A Hope Day Center, and I volunteered as much as I could because what I saw there was relationship building with the most vulnerable individuals in the community, something that I hadn't seen anyplace else. A lot of these people, a lot of our clients, when they come to us, they don't feel like they have a place in society. Through the relationship building that A Hope has done over the years, we have helped people find their way back into the fold. A Hope case managers have a connection to all social service agencies that could potentially be of use to the clients in their path toward recovery. We are the hub of homeless services in the community, and that's what makes us a great place for coordinated assessment to happen. Essentially, coordinated assessment will just allow us to streamline what we already do. We'll become more efficient with the way that we use money so that we serve the clients that need it most. We will be targeting the appropriate service to the appropriate client through a statistically proven system. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Derek. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Asia Heller, and I also work for Homeward Bound at the A Hope Day Center. And I'm here to speak to the same issue for coordinated assessment funding. When I started at A Hope 5.5 years ago, it felt great because we provided a lot of basic services. It felt great to engage with folks by handing them towels to take showers. And conversing over coffee and really getting to build that relationship. But essentially we were engaged in relief work with folks and being a balm on the wound there. And we were shelter from the storm, and we gave people coffee and hugs because they need it, but also because that we didn't have more to offer necessarily. And then not long after I started, Homeward Bound started focusing our efforts on housing folks and really finding a solution to homelessness and getting people off the streets and into housing. We did the best we could to continue providing basic services and shifting our conversations and efforts towards housing. Over the last year, AHOPE has made tremendous efforts to implement the system of coordinated assessment. Instead of simply relying on the relationships we have built over thousands of cups of coffee to house people, we are using an evidence-based tool to assess people's needs so that the appropriate funds are being used where they will have the greatest effect. Homeward Bound has housed over 1,000 people, most of whom came through AHOPE for coffee and basic services and were connected to housing. I look forward to continue coming to work because I can't imagine what AHOPE will be able to do once we are funded to implement coordinated assessment and to actually fund us to house people. So.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Let's see, I think you were, ma'am, we're going to have you next. Go ahead. Purple shirt. And then, are you with her, sir? Okay. I'll have you next to come and speak after that. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Connie Callback from 100 Dogwood Drive in Weaverville. The residents of the greater Dogwood area where I live worked very hard last fall to get the zoning change from R2 to R1. We turned in 150 personally signed applications to have the zoning changed. And the homeowner spoke here just last month, about this issue, and the board voted unanimously. And we basked in our glory. We basked in our success, but not for long. Less than 2 weeks later came this article in the paper in the Astro Citizen Times about the county may allow factory-built homes. We discovered the zoning could possibly make no difference at all as to what kind of houses can be provided in any neighborhood in most zones in the county. I can't tell you how great my disappointment is that the board would consider the possibility of manufactured homes as the answer to affordable housing. And people have already talked about what kind of housing that is, but one of the telling things in the article here is that the homes could have gutters and brick skirting to make them look like houses. Some facts to think about are these. The manufactured homes deteriorate quickly. They don't appreciate the way most homes do, and they require a personal loan at a higher rate of interest like cars than for stick-built homes, and that isn't exactly what you call affordable. Also, bringing in homes like these, completely manufactured off-site, wouldn't create local jobs. This opens the door also to developers from outside, and we've already had this happen, but the point is, they care nothing about this area or the people who live in it. They can come in and buy up whatever available land they can find, and for a low investment, throw up inexpensive housing with no longevity in the structures and charge rental rates that, again, aren't necessarily affordable. We'll be keeping a close eye on this issue. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Holden. Yes, sir. Who will speak after this gentleman? We'll have you 3 minutes.
I'm Gary Callback from Weaverville, North Carolina. Before I met her almost 30 years ago, I lived in a mobile home when I was young. And I bought it. And it gradually decreased in value very quickly, and I wound up taking a bath on it. And I would have been better off in an apartment with the school board had recommended at the time when I was teaching school in Kentucky. What I want to bring up attention here is that it's a lot of politics are going on here. And this, Sarah passed an article to me that I read. This is from the Seattle Times, April 2nd. And the headline is, "The Mobile Home Trap, How a Warren Buffett Empire Preys on the Poor." Again, this is from Seattle Times just a week ago. It's an extended article. It's the first in a series of many articles. And I have the front page and I have the URL for you. I'll pass it out to you and you can all have it. But the main thing is that people don't need a handout. They need a hand up. And just like we hear here, it was interesting to hear this about helping the homeless. The homeless need to have ownership so they can eventually participate with everybody else. And that's the end goal. And people who get into the bottom of the barrel and are brought up by these wonderful people, I congratulate. But a mobile home is not an answer. I can tell you that from experience. So may I give this to the board?
Are you through?
Yeah, I'm through now, yes.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, on the front row.
Hello, my name is Madeline Wadley, and I'm here to speak about funding for Homeward Bound of Western North Carolina in the A Hope Day Center program. I've been a staff member at A Hope Day Center for nearly 2 years, and prior to that, I was a volunteer through Warren Wilson College. I've been involved with Homeward Bound for the past 6 years because I believe all human beings have inherent worth and deserve to live with dignity and respect. Homeward Bound strives daily to restore dignity for community members who have lost everything. Sometimes that only involves a shower and a cup of coffee, but many times it is guiding people on the path to permanent housing. Housing First is both cost-effective and beneficial. One person who is homeless can cost taxpayers $23,000 through use of shelters and emergency services. A person who has been housed only costs approximately $10,000. Once a person is housed, they have a solid foundation for rebuilding their life with the help of Homeward Bound case management and community support. Through coordinated assessment, our community has the opportunity to streamline how we offer housing assistance, finding homes for people who need them as quickly and efficiently as possible, while prioritizing those who are most vulnerable with increased numbers of volunteers. By streamlining housing as quickly and efficiently as possible while prioritizing those who are the most vulnerable. With increased numbers of volunteers, A Hope Day Center staff will be able to spend more time case managing clients, helping to meet their needs, reach their goals, and prepare for successful transition into housing. For years, A Hope has been the gateway to services for people experiencing homelessness in Asheville. As the main coordinated assessment site, we can continue our work of restoring dignity and housing the homeless both efficiently and compassionately. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Leslie Stewart. I also work with Homeward Bound, and I'm also here to advocate for the funding for Project Rebound and A-Hope and coordinated assessment. Back in October of 2014, we received a significant grant to work towards ending veteran homelessness by the end of this year. So we're going to work over this next year and the following 2 years to work towards ending veteran homelessness. We received this through the Department of Veterans Affairs, and it's a VA mandated part of this grant that we participate in coordinated assessment. There are two crucial parts of this, and that is outreach through A-Hope and also this coordinated assessment process, which we are actively participating in. It's a really smart way for us to think about how we are intervening when veterans are homeless so that we can make sure that the right intervention is happening and that folks will be able to sustain once they're in housing through case management with Homeward Bound. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rowe. Let's see, our front row been reached? Yes, sir, Mr. Yelton, and then we'll have the lady on the second row.
Don Yelton, Jupiter, North Carolina. And I come before you to talk about
a topic near and dear to my heart. And only one commissioner up there has heard me say this many times. CTS is not going to go away. I'd like for you to listen to the dates. Because on September the 16th, 2014, this board took action to seek for reimbursement of public funds spent on putting water lines out there where it was necessary. CTS and Mills Gap Road Associates made a confidential federal litigation agreement in 2014. As of January 2014, the chair of the county commissioners was aware of the fact that Bob Deutsch, a county attorney, was a 15-year-plus law partner of John Powell, one of the Mills Gap Road Associate partners. Actually, the law offices and Mills Gap Road Associates shared the same address as the law offices. When I contacted Human Resources today about the beginning of Bob Deutsch's employment, I was told he was not listed there. I then called the finance department, and I was told by the lady that answered the phone to call Human Services. At that point, I explained to her that I had just done that, and that was why I was calling her. And I assume this may be the financial representative. If it is, I want to thank him because I got a rapid reply today. If I didn't, and he's not here, you please express appreciation to him. Because he called me back and told me that the first check cut for Attorney Bob Deutsch was November the 29th, 2013, of the amount of $4,000. I also remind you that the Bar Association does not take lightly the lying, or a nice way of saying, misrepresenting information to a client. Chairman Gant, you represent the citizens of Buncombe County, especially those in South Asheville, and you are attorney. Robert L. Deutsch is hired by you as commissioners to represent us, and I hope that has happened in the last 3 years since November the 29th, 2013, and there's nothing there that will be later exposed. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, ma'am, on the second row.
Hi, my name is Francina Griffin, and I'm here to speak on A-Hope and Homestead. I went to another place in September, to a homeless shelter. But then I found out about 3 weeks later about A-Hope. So I went to A-Hope. The people there showed me the way, I guess, a better way of living and everything. And then the coordinators there, case managers there, has helped me a lot since I've been there. And I've been there ever since, like, in the end of November. I got in the program there through Homeward Bound, and they had helped me. I helped myself too. They got me a job, and now we're working on a place to live, which will probably be a couple months on down the line. But I want to invite y'all to come down there sometime, eat donuts and coffee, and see how it goes. And y'all enjoy it too. All right.
Thank you. Yes, sir. And Mr. Rice, this gentleman, and then Mr. Rice. Who wants to speak after Mr. Rice? You'll be third, and you'll be fourth.
I'm Dayton Maley. I like to speak on the R2 and R1 about the mobile homes and stuff. I live in Weaverville. That everybody needs a place to live, but I don't think that they ought to take and put the burden on the back of people to spend their life savings and stuff in in their homes and stuff for the value to come down. We have a house in our neighborhood now that was just sold. 35 clients came through that house. And none of them wanted it. 19 of them wanted the house, but nobody wanted to live in a neighborhood where there was a place that was being rented that wasn't being taken care of, and that will bring down the property tax and the price of homes in our area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neely. Yes, Mr. Rice, and then lady on front.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm a native here. Been here 64 years, whether people wanted me here or not. But I have a twin brother, so, you know, I'll add up that. I've lived here all my life in Weaverville, where I was growed up mostly as a first grader anyway. I take issue here today with the comments that's being said. I appreciate you county commissioners taking it on you to bring mobile homes anywhere that you can get them put. Anywhere. Bar none. Because I'm going to tell you why. Being here all my life, living in cabins, living in houses you could throw the cat through, get rained on or snowed on, and there's 19 of us, so we didn't have the best of everything. But there's one thing we had. We had love for one another. We had love for our community. And we know how to be compassionate and know how to treat people. That's one thing that we knew how to do, and we know how to do it today. And I certainly take issue with people that want to come in here to live in gated communities. If they want to live in gated communities, they need to go back to New York, they need to go back to Michigan, or anywhere they're from, and live there, and quit coming here and putting burdens on us as taxpayers and as natives. A native people here is becoming people that's going to be on a reservation before long. I'm a natural native of the Cherokee Indians in my family, and I know what that means. But when it comes down to the issue of living, what do you think about Abraham Lincoln and the people that lived in cabins? Would that be affordable? Would that be looked upon or down upon today? Or would it be affordable? I think there need to be pride in what you do, but there need to be love in it to the point that you come here with solutions on how to fix a problem. The problem is not being fixed by complaints about these mobile homes next door. When you've got the highest percentage of people on the education, kids without diplomas in Buncombe County, and the multi-millions and billions of dollars that we've spent over these years, and then we are trying to fix a problem. If we can't educate them, we sure can't get them better jobs. If we can't get better jobs, we need to move them closer in to where they're getting these $3 jobs or $7 jobs, and move them closer in to where they can afford to live here. And these mobile homes is a great place to live. They certainly ain't a log cabin. They certainly ain't out in the weather. At least they've got something over their head that's worthwhile. So I take issue with anybody. I'd like to sit down with any of these folks and find out where they come from and how much money they brought here to buy what they got. Because most of them that's coming here today can afford anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Sharon Blythe, and I'm an employee of Homeward Bound in Western North Carolina. I am privileged to spend my days walking with people like Francina that spoke to you. In support of the AHOPE Coordinated Assessment Grant application, I think I would like for you to know a little bit more about Francina than she shared, which is that when she came to us, she didn't have a case manager, and therefore she didn't know what direction she needed to take to get from where she was, which is homeless, to where she wants to be, which is housed and sustainable. And so through the process of working with me and my colleagues, a lot of which have spoken here today, Francina found a job. She came to me and said, I want to work. And I said, so find a job. And 3 days later, she went to work full time. And that's where I picked her up today. So I know when we stand up here and we say coordinated assessment, some of you know what that is and some of you maybe don't know what that is. But it's a process to streamline homeless folks into housing based on vulnerability. So it helps us as a community take the most vulnerable off the streets as quickly as we can and put them back in housing. When a client comes to the AHOPE Day Center, they are connected to that staff, and that's how that relationship starts on the AHOPE floor. What's the beauty of coordinated assessment is that they are going to be assigned to a staff member, which is a privilege that I've had with my program for 5 years, so we know it works. I case manage full time. So by having that case manager to walk through the process with them, to determine the housing avenue for them, they become more stable just in the process. If we could take everybody today and put them in housing tomorrow and work ourselves out of a job, let me assure you all that we would, but that's not our reality. The trauma that comes from living in a homeless community is not easy to overcome, and having an individual person that you can call your case manager to walk with you to do that is huge for the folks that we serve. So our community, I feel like, has come so far in ending homelessness, and I think we're going to get there. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I hope that this board and this commission sees the importance of coordinated assessment like we do, and the case management relationship like we do. And we'll continue to support Homeward Bound as we do that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, sir.
My name is Daniel. Privileged to follow Sharon. I've been working at AHOPE for 3.5 years, and here to speak in regards to the coordinated assessment application for Service Foundation funding. Add to this what's been said. I think one thing to say about AHOPE is we have the pulse on the difficult realities of that surround homelessness in our community. We see its face every day. We hear its story. We also have a great sense of the complexities of housing. Because we walk with folks, we face the frustrations, and we really know what it's up against. And we also know our limitations in time and space to address those things. And this supporting this room, the space to be more intentional would allow us to change with those needs, to work with folks in a much more intentional, efficient way to find something that's sustainable and smart. One thing about AHOPE is that we're good at adapting. We started out in the basement back in the late 80s, and we've shifted, and we've always been interested in partnering with people and bringing people into the discussion and applying for new grants. And we've been risk takers. And as you can see with our support, we really believe this is the next step to be smarter and wiser and about what we do, and because housing is growingly complex. Since I've worked there, I've seen it more difficult. It's a little slower in some aspects, and it takes a lot more creativity, a lot more advocacy. And this would allow us to know what to bring to the table, to know how to meet people in their need, and to be advocates in the community. So thank you for your time to listen to all of us.
Thank you, Daniel. Yes, sir. Who wants to speak after this gentleman? Who'll be next after this man?
My name is Julian Palin. I'm from the Weaverville area, and I've heard quite a bit of discussion, pro and con, but specifically what bothers me is with our highway system, Route 40, Route 26, most of us fly through our beautiful country, and it is beautiful down here. But take those side roads from, let's say, Weaverville up to Mars Hill. And you go off along some of these side roads, they're not developed with cement or asphalt. And you'll find some of the trailers in there that's been here for a few years to a point where they're abandoned. someone says that most of the building material in a trailer is primarily is wood with the basics of being steel. So the amount of steel in a trailer probably wouldn't exceed $200 at a scrapyard. Now, in order to take that trailer down to being able to sell that stuff, you have labor involved in tearing it apart. That labor will cost you quite a bit of money. So ultimately, my point is, what happens to these units? These units are left there to rot because basically someone who's dissatisfied with what they see don't have the money to, or the necessary education to tear these things apart in order to break it down into the material that could be sold. So what happens, these trailers are there, and if you doubt my word, take a trip off of Route 40, Route 26, into some of these side roads, and you'll see some of these trailers that have been abandoned. And ultimately, when you abandon a trailer, it's no use to anyone because, number one, it pays no more taxes. So we're in a situation where the idea of putting in trailers to minimize the cost of having those people who can't afford to pay sufficient funds to own a place. I think in the long run, we're in a situation where if this goes through and trailers are allowed, specifically, I'm talking about the mobile trailers because there is no comparison between a modular unit and a mobile unit because we're talking about two different things. And thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Yes, sir, you're next. And who will speak after this gentleman?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Jay Mackey. I live in Candler, and I'm here to discuss Homeward Bound's application for coordinated assessment funding through the Buncombe County Service Foundation. I am an employee of Homeward Bound. I've been working at the A Hope Day Center for close to 2 years, and I've seen a lot of progress through the individuals of our community there. What coordinated assessment itself allows us to do with clients is to prioritize their vulnerability to match them with the appropriate housing interventions so that we're spending money wisely and efficiently, so that those individuals who only need a little bit of help, we give them that little bit of help and a lot of encouragement and motivation to do the next things they need to do to take themselves to that place. Those individuals who need a lot more assistance, we're there to provide that. And it's also, A-Hope is a convenient entry point for all of our individuals and families experiencing homelessness. They can stop in, meet with a staff member there. We can perform this assessment and start planning with them. And that planning isn't just about how they're going to find housing. That planning is also how are they getting their basic needs met? What are they doing right now to where are they going to stay tonight? How are they going to get food today? Are these people looking for work? How can we help them find work through a lot of the community resources? Entitlement benefits, helping them get access to mental health, behavioral health, substance abuse, and addictions treatment. It's a very wide range. The coordinated assessment covers all of this. When we're sitting with this individual, we're looking at their whole picture, not just about getting them into a house, but there's a lot of other things that make them succeed in landing that house and then in staying in that house and having all of the necessary support around them so that they can live a fulfilling life and start contributing back to the community again. So coordinated assessment is very valuable to us, to our individuals and families experiencing homelessness, and to the community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. Any other public comment tonight? All right, you've seen none, and we will be taking up some matters in public hearing, which will be another